to another edition of the Student Fire Podcast, live from the Speak Fire studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm a motivational speaker for schools, and I am here to help you live your best life today. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Student Fire Podcast, live from the Speak Fire studio. I'm your host, Bobby Berg, and I am so thrilled to have you here. Whether you're checking this out at 4 in the morning on Monday or at any other point during the week, thank you so much for rocking with me and the whole Speak Fire team. We all appreciate you so much. Now, let's jump right into this. I want to take 5 seconds. I want you to really take a second to see how you're feeling. Be it good, be it bad, be it frustrated, be it angry, be it excited, be it ecstatic. I don't care what it is. I want you to take this time to really be honest with yourself on how you're doing. 5 seconds of silence. 3, 2, 1. See? That wasn't that bad. I hope you're doing okay, and I hope you're doing well, and I really hope that you're excited for this episode. So, for everybody that's new, hi, welcome. We'd love to have you. For everyone that's been here, as you know, we've been going over learning styles. First week, we checked out visual learners. The week after that, last week, we did auditory learners, and this week, we are getting to one of the most energetic and excited styles of learning, let's call it. We're going to go over our kinesthetic learners. Now, what are kinesthetic learners? Kinesthetic learners are your learners that have to do. You're not satisfied just listening to something. You're not okay with just watching visual. You need to actually do. To put it simply, if we're trying to put a car together, say we need to change our oil, for instance, I'd be perfect if you said, hey, Bobby, here's, I recorded myself saying or talking you through it. Here, listen to this. I could very easily listen to me like, all right, cool. I kind of get it. My buddy Tom, he could watch a YouTube video with the audio off and just follow what's going on. A kinesthetic learner might be able to do those two things, but you would thrive if you were able to really, as you're watching the video or however else you're, listening to it or watching it, you need to actually do it. You need to get your hands dirty. You need to be in the thick of what you're doing. Now, here's some stuff. I'm going to go over about 6 study tips to help my kinesthetic learners. Number 1, I need you to move around. You notice something's different about this episode. And no, it's not the backdrop, and no, it's not we tried some different lighting. I'm standing. I'm moving around. See, because for kinesthetic learners, you're not comfortable just sitting there going, all right, let's learn. Time to read this book, time to read the book, time to understand the book, That doesn't work for you. What you need to do is you need to be up, you need to be at 'em, you need to be doing things. So even if it's something as simple as walking around, that's going to help tremendously in how you retain your information. Number 2, this might go against what a lot of people like. I personally love this, but we'll see. Study in groups. Now, why do we study in groups? Because A, you can learn from all the buddies that are around you, all your friends that are really good at these subjects, especially if they're the kids that are getting really good grades in your class in this exact subject. Y'all, studying in groups with them works so well because you have to interact with other people. You can't just sit there with your one buddy and say, okay, fine, that'll work. But the more people, the better, because what can you do? You can quiz one another. And we used to do this in college all the time. We would have all these flashcards laid out in a group of probably 5 or 6 people. And one person would be in charge of flipping the card over and going, you, answer. And then we change it up where 5 people would have flashcards and one person would answer rapid fire left and right. Because for my kinesthetic learners, you need to be focused on different things all at once. And I know that doesn't sound like it makes a lot of sense, but you need to keep your brain and your body constantly active. Going on to step 3, make a game out of it. Make a game out of whatever you're studying. Instead of just going, okay, well, we're learning simple math here and we're going over fractions. I'm moving around like Bobby said. This is boring. Make a game out of it. Go, all right, listen. We're going to bake a pie. Or we're going to bake a cake. And all the measurements that we have to do, you're going to explain to me this math problem, and you're going to incorporate whatever measurement you need into it, and all of a sudden, boom, you're putting the pieces together. So what are you doing? You're incorporating the act of doing as you're learning, right? You have to get creative with this stuff. Learning is not hard, people. The hard part about learning is learning your learning style, and most importantly, finding ways that it works for you. Because we can go over all the study tips in the world, but if you don't take the time to really make learning fun, why are we wasting our time, right? Who wouldn't love to do a whole studying thing on fractions and make a cake at the same time. Because when you're done studying, guess what you have? Dessert. Right? That's awesome. Number 4, you really need to do what you're learning. Now, I know my visual learners are like, well, yeah, of course. And the auditory learners are going, wait a minute. What did you just say? But you have to really do what you're learning. If you're learning how to change the oil on your car, someone can talk you through it. Someone can explain it to you. But if you're not getting your hands, and they're getting your hands dirty, actually physically doing the motion, you're not going to retain what you're doing. I'm a kinesthetic learner, or at least that's one of my stronger learning styles, in addition to my auditory learning. And something that I found is really helpful, I like to tinker a lot. I have an old 2012 MacBook Pro. Please don't say okay boomer in the comments. Thanks. Anyway. No, but for real, if you sit down and I grab my laptop and I want to change out the RAM, it was one thing to watch a video. It was another thing to listen to what the guy was talking about as he was explaining how to do it. But for me, I had to watch the video, listen to what he was saying, and actually start taking the thing apart to find out, oh, this is how you do it. You need to do what you're learning so that you can really retain the information. Number 5, I want you to, while you're taking notes, first off, this is a 2-parter. When you're taking notes, I don't want you to just take notes like everyone else, where you're just making it, like when we talked about visual learners, I said do it in outline format, because visually it'll make more sense as you have all this information and it gets smaller, right? What I want you to do is I want you to draw your notes. You remember how we talked about making word maps? That's a style of this. I want you to really draw. So write your notes out, handwrite them. That's part 2 of this. Handwrite your notes. Then when you're actually writing your notes out, I want you to draw little things next to it. For instance, in my chemistry class in high school, we used to do this all the time. We would write all my notes about I would write all my notes about what the teacher was talking about. And then I would go back and look at what I'd written and draw the cell, draw all the components of the cell that we were going over so I could really understand what we were doing, right? I really need you to visualize what's happening and draw it out. Why am I having you draw? I don't care if these drawings are good. Having you draw these out, because as you're drawing them, you're making the connection. So then when you get stuck on your exam and you're going, oh man, I don't really understand what this is, you can start just scribbling in the side of the margin, and all of a sudden, your brain's going to go, oh, I've done this before, right? And boom. That's another way to retain information and recall that information. Number 6. I know a lot of people don't like role-playing. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on it because it always gets awkward. That's because y'all don't buy into it. Number 6 is role-playing your exams. My buddies and I in college used to do this all the time because I'm terrible at taking tests, y'all. I am so bad at taking tests. So what we would do is we would, get together in a study room, rent it out. There were about 4 to 6 people in the room, and one person would come in and, pass out these practice exams that we would make up for each other, set it down and say, okay, you have 20 minutes or however much time we were working on. And they said, you have X amount of time. Don't leave your seats when you're done with your exam. Just raise your hand and I'll collect it. And best of luck. I'm here if you have any questions. See you in 20 minutes. And we would sit down and we would actually go through our exams as a study tool, because for a lot of people, they get stressed out and they get frustrated and you get that tightness in your chest where you're like, oh, I can't breathe. Oh my gosh. Oh, there's this exam. I don't know this question. I'll go to number 2. You don't get number 2 either. Oh, I'll go into number 3. Number 3 is just as confusing. Oh, I'll go into number 4. Number 4 doesn't make any sense either. And then you get more stressed and more frustrated and you just feel like you're in this tight box of frustration because you haven't put your body through that level of stress in such a long time. So doing these practice exams really gives you the opportunity to feel that stress again. And something else, when you're putting your body in that stressful environment, you're going to realize what you really know and what you don't. I know, Bobby, of course, you're going to know what you know and you're going to know what you don't. But hear me out. If you really can focus on what's happening and what you really can comprehend with this exam, when you go back and you grade it and you go, okay, I missed number 4, missed number 6, and I missed question 3 too. Now you know that you don't need to go back and study the rest of them, review them, but you really need to put your focus on the questions you got wrong. So we've now taken this much information and pinpointed it down to this. That is how much information you really need to study, right? because we know what your strengths are. We need to focus now on what needs to get changed, what you need to improve on. So I need you to move around when you're studying. I need you to study in groups and make sure you're quizzing each other. I really want you to make games out of studying and make learning fun once again. You really need to do what you're learning, right? I need you to be active and actively participate in the learning process. Draw your notes, make sure they're neat, and make sure you can at least read them. And lastly, I want you to do some role playing for your exams so you can really comprehend the stress and the feeling of what it's going to be like. So when you get in the classroom, when you sit down and your teacher hands you that real paper, the real exam, the real whatever assessment it is, you're ready because you've done it. Again, when we're working towards that exam, when we're working towards that test, I don't want you to be surprised by anything. I want you to do every single thing in your power to make sure you succeed. Put yourself through the paces. Put yourself in that stress. Get comfortable being that uncomfortable. And my kinesthetic learners, you guys are going to thrive. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope you have a great day ahead of you, whatever day you're listening to this on. For everyone that's checking this out on YouTube, first off, for everyone that's not, go over to my YouTube channel. It's at Bobby Berg. It's the same photo that I have on all my social media, so it's easily, recognizable. Go subscribe, watch the video, give it a like, and check out all my old videos because there's about 90 as of right now. We're gonna hit 100 soon. It's gonna be really cool. I'm excited. But no, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I love you very much. You are strong. You are powerful. You are loved. And just because you might be struggling at something does not mean anything. You're going through some paces, and guess what? That's life. You are still incredible. You are still loved. You are amazing. And I hope that this episode really helped. Again, if you guys have any questions or any sort of episodes you'd like me to cover in the future, hit me up on Instagram or TikTok at Bobby Berg, all one word. I would love to hear from you. For those of you that have given me suggestions, thank you. I'm recording them as we speak. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Whew, that was another awesome episode of the Student Fire podcast. Thank y'all for sticking around for this long, but I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? See, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show to apps? Like, do I have to do it individually, or can I just have one place that does everything for me? And most importantly, how do I make money from my podcast? Is that even an option? Well, honestly, y'all, your answer is Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors that want to advertise on your podcast. Yes, you. That means you can get paid to make the podcast. You can get paid to podcast the right way. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. If you want to get down on this, if you want to make your podcast a reality and you want your success and your word to be a thing, man, you already know. Hop over to Anchor and give it a start. You won't regret it. Catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
I got you.
It's coming. Are you ready to ignite the fire?
We are Speak Fire.
Oh, and by the way, that's fire with a Y.
What's going on, everyone?
Internal fire.
Student fire.
Young fire. Father's fire. Leadership fire.
Champion fire.
Unlocking the fire within.
Thank you all for tuning in. Let's grow.
Speak fire.
Speakfire.com.
Speak Fire with a Y.
We have a new episode that comes out every Monday at 4 a.m. Are you going to be up with us?
Deuces.
I am excited to bring you my new book, Trendsetter, 7 Steps to Radically Stand Out to Be the Best You. This book details my journey of coming to the United States and being excited to embrace the American culture. But unfortunately, my culture was not accepted, and I found myself being bullied as a young girl. And in this process, I decided that I wanted to disconnect from my culture to be more accepted into American culture. And through that process, I got so depressed from trying to fit in that I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. So this book talks about the journey of what I did to become radically transformed to be the strong woman I am today. This book is something that's really going to enable the reader to understand and embrace who they are embrace what makes them special, and become radically transformed. Get your copy today at becomingatrendsetter.com. Again, that is becomingatrendsetter.com, or check it out at my website at aishathomas.org.